Byrd is going to continue to be a word that Utah Utes fans say quite frequently in 2026 as Byrd Ficklin is officially back with Utah football. What does it mean for this offense? A lot, and we're going to tell you on today's Locked On Utes.
You are Locked On Utes, your daily podcast on the Utah Utes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for making Locked On Utes your first listen and view of the day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. If it's your first time listening, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. My name is J.T. Wistrcill. On today's show, we got to talk about a very intriguing tight end that Utah has been in the process of recruiting for a little bit now. Talk about a running back transfer who just exited the team or will exit the team. It's the whole funny thing about the transfer portal. These guys announced their intention to transfer, but the portal isn't actually open until January 2nd. So technically still on the team. Speaking of on the team, this is where we start today's episode. One guy who is officially going to be on the football team in 2026, or I guess basically what we just said, as long as nothing crazy changes at January 2nd, college athletics being as crazy as right now, is Byrd Ficklin. Byrd Ficklin is coming back to the Utah football team. This comes to us from Jason Bodico, who's a Utah beat writer at the Salt Lake Tribune, who said per his agent, and his agent, Bird's agent, is Amber Matherin, Byrd Ficklin has agreed to terms on a new deal to return to Utah in 2026. Ficklin received interest from multiple P4 programs to enter the portal. He's expected to sign the dotted line today. So by the time you're listening to this, that was yesterday. So this is huge for Utah to get Byrd Ficklin back. I still can't believe how good he was as a freshman, and especially just the flashes he showed as a future. It wasn't that long ago that Byrd Ficklin was an early enrollee quarterback. But reminder, like there's lots of early enrollee guys at the QB position who don't end up doing a lot. I never thought we would. I really didn't think we were going to hear much about Byrd Ficklin at all. He was a 3-star recruit coming into Utah. He was a guy I liked coming out of Oklahoma. I thought he had potential, but I always thought it would take time for that to be realized. I mean, yeah, he threw for over 3,000 yards in high school, 32 touchdowns in his junior season, and added 947 rushing yards. Like he was incredibly productive at the high school level, but 3-star quarterback still has to grow as a passer. And we'll talk about it. He still actually needs to grow as a passer in a moment, but he was incredible this year. I mean, played in 11 different games overall. He was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week 1 week. He was Big 12 Freshman of the Week a couple times this year. And he was just electric with the ball in his hands. He just made things happen. Obviously, Devin Dampier hurt against Colorado. Byrd Ficklin was called upon, and he did not, maybe not lead, but he was one of the key reasons, right, that Utah had such a dominant performance against the Buffs overall on the season. He only throws for 301 yards, but how about rushing-wise? He ran for 503 yards. That's the second best mark on the team. He led the team in yards per carry at 9, actually. 74 yards of the long on the year, one of the long touchdowns. 10 total touchdowns, which is tied for the team lead with Naquari Rogers on the ground. He had 56 carries, mind you, and he was third on the team in rushing. So Naquari Rogers had 95, and he was only at 376 yards. Byrd was 503. So just Byrd was incredible with the ball in his hands this season. I mean, just his ability to make guys miss, his feel as well, just when running it naturally, like not just making guys miss like the stiff arm on the Colorado safety, right? But just that ability to, follow his blockers, find the hole, and then just explode through it with that breakthrough speed that most running backs at the P4 level don't even possess. And a reminder, he's doing also as a true freshman too, which is what makes it even more remarkable. So this is huge for Utah. They're getting Byrd back. I think his ceiling is incredibly high. I think it's interesting that he, as the report said from Jason's, that he had received interest from multiple P4 programs to enter the portal. I'm curious what those P4 programs wanted in Byrd Ficklin, because that brings us to the next question, right? Hey, Byrd Ficklin's coming back. He's your QB. He was QB2 last year, but he showed a lot of great flashes. We mentioned he was dominant in the Colorado game. He was really good for this Utah team. So is he QB1 now? No, Devin Dampier still is if he comes back. And I don't think that's going to change at all. I don't think there'll be a quarterback controversy, nothing like that, because the truth of the matter is Byrd Ficklin's still growing as a passer. And yes, obviously Devin Dampier is too, but Devin Dampier has showed a lot more throughout his collegiate career and has made a lot more impressive throws overall. We mentioned how good Byrd was against Colorado, the start of that game. And yeah, it's his first ever collegiate start. We're also just being honest and trying to be a true freshman, but he's struggled with accuracy in that game and at other times on the season. I know the stats will look and you'll go, JT was 21 for 35. What are you talking about? But just watch his throws, watch his passes. He's still getting better in that area. There's a reason that he was about as good running of the football as a true freshman as you can be. But there's a reason that Utah didn't just go, oh, you are a better running quarterback than Devin Dampier right now, which Byrd was, which is also surprising for as young as he was. There's a reason Utah just didn't pivot and go, let's make Byrd the starter, because he's not quite ready as a passer yet. And that's where I don't think he's going to be the starting quarterback on this team next year. It will still be Devin Dampier, who we still believe will come back to. It's been reported Byrd inked this deal, right? I haven't seen that same report for Devin Dampier, but I'd be shocked if he left. We've talked about on the show before too, where about, hey, I feel like Utah will end up retaining both of these guys. I don't think Devin Dampier had the type of year where the NIL monster powers in college sports, right, are going to swoop in and be like, we want Devin Dampier as our starting quarterback, and we're just going to give him more money, and you guys won't be able to compete with it. Like, I just don't see that happening with Devin Dampier. I think he's going to come back for Utah. I think whatever offer he gets to enter the portal, Utah will be able to match because it will be a comparable university that would want his services. So, and I'm excited to have Devin back. I thought Devin was really good throughout this season. Big 12 offensive newcomer of the year, right? Still a very dynamic player, hampered by injuries at time, but he's got it done, delivered in some big spots, even when the accuracy wasn't always there. We heard all year he was playing hurt too, so I think he can continue to grow and get better. And I think it'd be good for Byrd to have another year too, just to continue to grow and develop as a passer. He's still getting better in that area, and I think by the time you get to year 3, because Devin Dampier only has one more year of eligibility left, I do think this year, this deal locks Byrd up for one more year, but a year from now, Byrd will have a chance to be a P4 starting quarterback, I think, going into the season. Like, Utah will probably bring in some competition for him, but I can't imagine it'll be crazy competition because it just feels like it'll be Byrd's time 2 years from now. Like, for how impressive he looks as a freshman, I just feel like he's going to flourish in the future. And Byrd Ficklin and Devin Dampier are this Utah quarterback room. If you look at this group, you now have Isaac Wilson and Brandon Zerbrugger in the transfer portal. Outside of that, you have Drew Coward. They're going to get the quarterback out of, where did he come from? There's a Georgia quarterback who's going to be joining Utah too as well. So that'll be good. This Utah team clearly needs more quarterback. We mentioned Coward, the only other quarterback on this roster outside of Ficklin and Dampier, but it is nice for, as long as we've had issues about like, who's the backup going to be? Who's the starter going to be? Like just last year, Isaac Wilson versus Byrd Ficklin. Before that, Brandon Rose, Isaac Wilson. Before that, Bryson Barnes, Brandon Rose, right? So there's been all these different battles for the back, or actually it was Jaquin and Jackson maybe even that year before, and before that too, right? So we've just had a lot of these backup and QB battles, and it's nice that we feel pretty set in who the Utah quarterbacks are going to be next year. And for the foreseeable future with a guy like Byrd Ficklin too, I really think Byrd has a chance to be a key contributor for 4 years at the University of Utah. He's a perfect fit in this Jason Beck offense. It'll be interesting to see how all of Utah's skill position players, especially the backs, perform next year with the offensive line not being as good as it was. But I still expect all those guys to have success, especially a guy like a Byrd Ficklin, who I do expect to take a freshman to sophomore year leap. He's going to be amazing running the ball still, but like we talked about, like watch some of his passes throughout the season, whether it's some of those, they'd fake the run and then he throws it. It's a lot of balls that are behind his receivers. He is still getting better in that avenue. And I think he would tell you that as well too, that he is still growing as a passer. He's not a finished product there. And I think as he continues to grow and get better, he's going to transform himself into what I think could be one of the most electric playmakers in college football. He already was at times with the ball in his hands this past season. Mentioned 10 rushing touchdowns, and he was just simply unstoppable. Just looked like no one could tackle him, even though he's not the biggest guy out there. His heart, his will, his determination, we already mentioned the footwork too, made him just absolutely sensational as a quarterback for this Utah team. So I'm so fired up. He's coming back. We've heard that him and Devin have a great relationship, which I love, and I do expect Devin to come back too. So the quarterback position, about as good as we got to be feeling about it in terms of the depth and the backup and the starter, like ending a season as we have in a long time. So love that Byrd is coming back with Devin, and big things ahead for them. But not everyone's coming back. Utah lost a transfer in their running back room. What am I talking about? I'm going to tell you in one moment. But first, this episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our friends at Rugiet. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life, it just doesn't switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rugiet Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rugiet Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and body, so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rugiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 minute that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. You connect with a board-certified doctor online and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men, once again, over 150,000 men have already made the switch. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your first order for limited time. Rugiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready with Rugiet. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL Sundays move fast. We only have about 4 of them left, actually. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different about each game. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the games, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight, and more. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Plus, you can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you with FanDuel, not just with NFL too. College basketball, college football too rolling on. The NBA, NHL, FanDuel is the place to be. Also want to take an opportunity to wish you guys not just a happy Friday, but tell you about something exciting we got going on at the Locked On Podcast Network. We want to thank you for making Locked On Utes your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now it's time to stake it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Utes with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to Locked On Utes right now, and you can head over and check out more information or check the link in the show notes to learn more about how you can become an Everydayer and join the Everydayer Club. Okay, talk about a Utah player who is not going to be with this team, it sounds like, moving forward, and that is going to be Devin Green, who put out a statement after much prayer and thought of decided to enter my name into the NCAA portal with 3 years of eligibility left. I'd like to thank everyone at Utah for allowing me to do what I love, and I'm grateful for the long bonds I have created. So some of you might be listening to this and you might be thinking, who's Devin Green? I haven't heard of him. Well, that's because he did not play a lot this last season, but coming into the year, we thought he could be an intriguing option at running back. Transferred in from UNLV, the 5'11", 211-pound sophomore back, did see time with UNLV last year. He saw action in 11 games with 2 starts, rushing 29 times for a total of 123 yards and a touchdown last season with UNLV. His career best of 6 carries and 61 yards came versus Utah Tech, including a long run of 38 yards. So Green, a talented back, but one that just never ended up seeing the field with the Utah Utes this past season. So what do I make of this? I think it's definitely unfortunate that he's moving on. Obviously, it's always nice to have depth in the backfield, but he got beat out pretty quickly, right, by even a Daniel Bray, who was using a more explosive capacity. And granted, maybe if it was just, hey, play after play, hand the ball off between the tackles, that's where he probably would have seen more Green than a Daniel Bray, because Green has that year of experience. But some guys aren't P4 fits either. Devin Green might be a guy who's going to have more success at the G5 level than the P4 level. Clearly didn't materialize at Utah, but it very well could at his next destination. So for Devin Green, we obviously wish him nothing but the best, and this is probably a good move for him too. Utah's backfield's in a good place for next year too. I know we've lost a couple of transfers in the running back room now. Like, if you look at what Utah's running back room is, it's easy to go like, oh, what's behind Wayshawn Parker? Well, we just told you Daniel Bray's going to be pretty special. Rice and Guillory is another guy I really like that we can get talk a lot about. And yeah, Omar Shaw transferred, Bryce Duke's done, Naquari Rogers is done, and Frankie Goodson's another guy. Like, hey, what's he going to continue to grow and show? The junior running back, we haven't seen a ton from him yet. We mentioned Shaw departing as well, but this is a Utah team that has their bell cow back. You have Wayshawn Parker, who was just transcendent this last year as the year wore on. In just 133 carries, 931 yards. He averaged 7 yards per carry. 64 yards was his long. He had 6 total touchdowns for Utah on the ground, and then he added 3 more through the air as well. 10 receptions, 132 yards, and was a guy who could make plays happen in the pass game in key spots. So I loved what Wayshawn Parker showed as a sophomore. I think he's a guy who's going to be in year 3 now with Marcotte Tuaya coming up after they spent time with Washington State before. So their chemistry and connection is continuing to grow and get stronger. And I think that's only means big things for the Utah Utes. I love the way that Wayshawn runs the ball. He's a physical back, one that can run through you or around you. You can use him in different ways. I remember the first play of Utah's season, they put Wayshawn in motion and had him be like throw the first big block on Smith Snowden to help, or on a Smith, the guy who was defending when Smith Snowden was an offensive player, which was crazy how like quickly Smith Snowden evaporated on offense. But with how much Utah asked him to do on defense, I do think that was for the best. That his role wasn't as high as what it used to be. But yeah, so this Utah team, you have our RB1. It's Wayshawn Parker, the speed, the toughness, the agility, the footwork. He'll have a chance to be one of the best backs in college football this next year. I think he should easily go over 1,000 yards. And had he been the bell cow from the start, as obviously we on this show have been campaigning for a very long time, I think he very easily would have. So outside of Wayshawn Parker, who's next? Because when Devin Green transfers, he knows Wayshawn's 1, but maybe he still thinks he could be RB2. Well, I think the truth is he's looking at a guy like Daniel Bray, and you're like, man, he was already that good as a freshman. He's going to continue to grow and get better too before his sophomore year. I think it'd be risky business trying to beat out Daniel Bray, and it is, because Daniel Bray is a player I really like. I think Daniel Bray has a very bright future with his Utah football team. You look what Daniel Bray did on the season. He had 39 carries, 269 yards, 6.9 yards per carry. 49 was long, 1 touchdown. Reminder about Bray, true freshman as well too. So a guy who's got plenty of opportunities to make some plays and make some things happen over the course of his career. 8 receptions, 67 yards on the year as well for a guy in Daniel Bray, who's just has that jet dynamic speed that made him so fun in the jet sweep game too. And I do think he has potential to be even a better pass catching back. I mean, obviously Devin Dampier had a little bit of trust for him. Remember that pick he threw against BYU? He actually threw that up to where Daniel Bray was. So I thought that was a big, I don't know if he knew Daniel Bray was exactly there on that route, but the fact that Daniel Bray is the guy who just has that speed, create separation, can be used in multiple ways. I think he's going to play a big part in this Utah backfield next season too. But obviously there's other guys who are going to have a chance to play a big part in this Utah backfield. And I'm excited to see what they could do with guys like a Guillory, right? That's a freshman we were excited about coming in. Just because one guy does a lot his freshman year doesn't mean that other guy can't come along and do a little bit more his sophomore year, whoever that next player is, right? So yeah, it always hurts when you lose a running back like Devin Green, but I like what Marcotte Tuaya is doing with this room. Utah will probably land another transfer portal running back. You lose a sledgehammer like an Aquari Rogers and just a veteran in that room. I think that's a good presence to have. Wayshawn's only going to be a junior this next season, so I would love it if Utah brought another veteran back who maybe understands, like a Bryce Duke last year. Your role won't be massive on this team, but you're going to be used as leadership, and you're still going to have a chance to continue in some key spots. And I think that is what the case is going to be coming up here very soon for this Utah Utes team. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how it all works out with this running back room. Obviously, there's lots of positions in need for Utah football. So how do they go about getting those filled through the transfer portal? What are they targeting? Who are they looking at? Those are all the big questions this Utah football team is trying to answer. But one today they got to answer is, Devin Green gone. Devin Green gone for this Utah football team. And if you notice a trend, a lot of these guys who have leaving, at Devin Green's left, at Justin Stevenson, the wide receiver at Wyoming's left, at Jackson Jones left, at Oregon. A lot of the guys who are leaving Utah right now are the guys who really didn't play a lot, who are seeking more playing opportunities and a better fit for their skill and their skill set. And just more power to those guys. And I hope that's what they find there too. But that's where we don't need to panic about next year's roster just because a few guys are running the portal, because that's what's happening all across college football. It's absolutely wild. But one area Utah will lose a tight end to, not just them going crazy, is Utah will lose a tight end in terms of a Dallin Bentley, or not going crazy, but them leaving, right? Like one area Utah does lose is their tight end Dallin Bentley. So who's going to step up in the tight end room? Well, might be a new player Utah adds. Who am I talking about? I'm going to tell you in one moment. Today's show, Locked On Utes, is also brought to you all by our friends with Aura Frames. Are you looking for that perfect holiday gift? Because the holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's easy to share memories, because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when you plug it in, the memories are already there, no app to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. And you can add personalized message right inside the frames too. And the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's open. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used to, not forgotten, on a drawer. Packaging comes with gift ready, no price tag, no wrapping needed. huge win. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting warframes.com to get $35 off Orr's best-selling Carver mat frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using the promo code COLLEGE, all caps, no spaces, college at checkout. That's warframes.com using that promo code COLLEGE, all caps, no space. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so you order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout too. Terms and conditions do apply. Head over and pick up an Aura frame from Aura Frames today. So the Utah Utes are in need of a tight end. Those of you who are like me did not expect a ton from Dallin Bentley in the Utah tight end position this year, and tight ends who ended up being in a typical Utah fashion, the second and third leading receivers on this offense, with Dallin Bentley having 42 receptions for 514 yards, average 12 yards a catch, 44 was his long, 5 touchdowns for him. How about J.J. Buchanan too? And yes, he's not a traditional tight end, not hand in the dirt, but Utah still would line him up in different ways to take advantage of the size mismatch. Buchanan, 22 receptions, 351 yards, 16-yard average, 60 was the long, 4 for the touchdown. So Buchanan will be back, and I think he's only going to continue to get better. Reminder, the freshman, we thought he was going to be a safety when he first came to Utah, and has swapped over to tight end because there was a need there, and he's played a lot, and he's balled out for this Utah team. But he is not there as a blocker yet, and I don't know if he's going to be next year. Dallin Bentley was a two-way force for this Utah team that took years to develop out of Snow College. Well, this next guy that Utah we're going to talk about is a guy that Utah will also may need to develop. You have a guy in Nathaniel Salmon, the tight end, who's 6'7", 270 pounds. He's a former pro hooper who wants to come over and play basketball. But this guy is fast. I mean, he's got 4.6 for a 40-yard dash laser too. He actually went through mini camp with the Los Angeles Chargers, but got cut. And since he hadn't played college football, he has 4 years of eligibility left. And he literally said, Nathaniel said it himself, where he said, "I believe I'm the next Antonio Gates." Don't know if I'd say that, but good for him for being confident. Just like Antonio Gates, I too played basketball professionally, then transitioned to football, and it felt natural, and I love it. My next step to my journey is finding my college home with 4 years of eligibility remaining. So he's waiting, trying to find his college home. Well, the Utah Utes are one of them. They had him up for a visit. It seemed like it went very well, so excited to see what that means. But look, BYU is after his services too. You have the likes of Texas A&M and a couple of their just big dogs that are looking at, not Texas A&M, excuse me. You have the likes of like a UNC and Arizona State that are looking at Nathaniel as well too. But you can't teach 6'7", 270. So some people might look at this and go, why is Utah going to waste their time on a project? Well, if that project pans out, it can mean big things for this Utah football program. And I believe he does have a chance to be a really good player. When you look at the athleticism, right? Played pro basketball, the hands, right? Big hands, athletic, go up top, Moss defenders too. This ability to grow stronger is there too. So I love this trend where you have former football players who are like, you know what, I want to take another crack at or former basketball players who decide, no, I want to try to make it pro in football. So that's what I'm going to do too. So this could end up being the next great Utah tight end. And that'd be very welcome too, because Utah's tight end room is very, very barren. We mentioned Buchanan. Outside of Buchanan, we hope Hunter Andrews is back from injury swiftly. Otto Tia will graduate after being moved from wide receiver to tight end. Drew Clemens is a freshman. Broderick Redden is a freshman. Mitch Nielsen is a freshman too. So it's just a lot. And yeah, Semi Taulonga is a tight end as well, technically. And I would love to see Semi's role with this team continue to grow, but Semi's not the greatest route runner in the world. So that's where his strength comes in, kind of the short misdirection stuff. But he's a fantastic blocker for this Utah team. And I do want them to continue to feed him the ball because he deserves it. And the hit he hit put on a couple of those BYU teams in that one game will live on my memory forever. So yeah, Utah needs to continue to add tight ends. I love that they're on the board. Brought him in for a visit last month. He hasn't committed yet, but expect him to do so soon so he can join spring ball, obviously, right? And I just think he's got a chance to be a really good player. He went to Arizona State first. We talked about BYU wanting him. North Carolina, when Bill Belichick speaks, you're going to listen. I get that. But hopefully he wants to stay here and wants to, or not stay here, but stay with this Utah football team, because I think it can be big things for him. Utah's tight end development, they've done this before. They helped Caleb Lomer reach his goals, and he ended up being pick in the 7th round by the Denver Broncos. So it can happen for these guys who have the tools to begin to start picking up the game of football, get to the NFL level, then learn even more, and then you go on and do big things after that in the league. But that all starts doing big things at Utah, and he does have 4 years of eligibility left, so that'd be big if you could see what he looks like, not just early on, but eventually watch him just grow into the force of nature that I think he has a chance to be. We already touched on his height a little bit, but you cannot coach 6'7", and the speed that he plays with is impressive for his size. And I can see why the NFL gave him a chance in minicamp. That didn't work out. So now he's going to try to go the college route and say, hey, can I develop my skills so in the future the NFL will say yes to me? And I love that move. And I'm excited to see what he's going to become. Just like I'm excited to continue to monitor this Utah football team. Thank you all for making Locked On Utes your first listen and view of the day. If you're on the market for a second listen, make sure you check out Locked On Big 12, Locked On College Football. They do a great job covering the sport, as all my co-hosts do on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you all again for another strong week of Locked On Utes. That's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next week, talk about the latest transfer portal news or whatever else might come up. Hey, maybe more private equity stuff, right? Since we all didn't get enough of that on X from everyone trying to say, give their takes, not just give their takes on it, but just tell everyone like why this is bad, why this is good. It's just, you always get a lot of it when there's change, right? So that's what ended up happening here. But I'm excited to see the changes that happen for this Utah athletics team. And I think it could be big things ahead. So I'm looking forward to continuing to cover them. And I hope y'all are continuing to tune into this show because I do greatly appreciate it. Hope y'all have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week as we talk all things Utah Utes.